guys, it's Amanda, and as promised, I'm finally back with a tutorial. Today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to make these super cute pumpkin star charms. So in order to make the pumpkin star, you actually only need 3 colors of clay. I'm using Pearl Red by Primo, Cadmium Yellow by Primo, and Translucent Blue by Primo. You can of course use pre-mixed colors. I have a tendency to just use whatever I have and mix the colors that I want. So a lot of the time I actually start from primary colors unless I'm using metal clays. You also need a star mold or some other method to shape a star. If you can do it by hand, good on you. I'm horrible at that, so I'm going to leave that one to the professionals. You also need an X-Acto knife and a needle tool. We're going to start by mixing the orange. I'm using about a dime-sized amount of yellow, and I'm starting with just a pinch of red. You always start with your lighter colors and work your darker colors in. So there's our orange color. Then to make the green, we do basically the same thing. I'm starting with about half of the amount of yellow that I just used to make the orange color, because you don't actually need as much green. So again, a bit of yellow and a tiny pinch of the translucent blue, and just mix. And this is about the color that I use when I'm making my pumpkins. So the first step for actually shaping the clay is to get out your mold, or however you'd like to shape your clay into a star. This is, I believe, a 17mm clay mold, and mine is from Miniature Suite. A lot of different shops have star molds like this. I've seen them all over the place. I really like the specific mold putty that Miniature Suite uses because it's a bit more firm. So I can press the clay pretty deeply and with a lot of pressure into the mold, and be sure that the mold isn't going to allow the star to become misshapen. And then what I'm doing here is I'm just cutting off any extra clay. You can also smooth it off with your finger, but I tend to leave really horrible fingerprints when I do that, so I'm going to avoid doing that. Then, like I said, you're just going to pop this out of the mold, and there's my star. Using your needle tool, you're going to make an indentation right in the middle of your star, and this is going to mark out where your points come from, and is also going to be the space where your little stump goes. Then you take your X-Acto knife and go from the center you just created to this little divot in between every point of the star, and you just lay your blade flat and then wiggle it back and forth a little to make a deep indent. And we're going to take our green and we're going to roll it into a long, thin snake. And then we're going to cut 3 short pieces off of our snake. So, 1. They should be of equal length, but that's not a huge deal because we're actually going to end up cutting it even more. 3. And we're going to pick those up and we're going to twist them together. And that's our stump, or stem, that's the word I was looking for. And you're going to cut off both ends just to make it a little bit neater. You're going to take the end piece of the snake you've just rolled. You'll notice I didn't use the end because I like that it has this tapered bit right here. And pick it up. I use my needle tool and place it in the middle of the star. Press down. And then you just kind of pick this up and using your fingers and the needle tool, you're going to coax this little vine into a curlicue. Little pumpkin vine curls. I can never do it exactly the same every time, so up adding a lot of character to the star. There you go. Now that you've got the vine down, on top of the end, you hide the end of your vine. Just gonna nudge this out of the way. By putting the stem for the pumpkin star, once you've cut off the ends and smushed it down a little bit, you put it into that little divot and just kind of press down. Now some people put eye pins in star charms. I personally mess them up every time I do that. So I'm just going to use my needle tool to indent a little hole right here at the top. And then after I bake this, I'm going to go back in with a little pin vise and I'm going to drill a hole right up there. After you've done all that, it's time to bake.